What is up, everybody? Saltiest Gaming, and we're back with another podcast, TSP episode 30. 10 times 3 equals 30. I can do math. How's it going, everybody?
What's poppin'?
Good.
What's going on?
Woo! Man, I'm hyped.
Oh, hell yeah.
Boys.
Thursday's back.
Yep.
Through the damn roof tonight, man. We've got some killer salty topics, dude. I'm super stoked to get into them. Seriously.
So before we get into this, I want to shout out all the people, the early goers here, the pre-gamers, Stinking Corpse, UK Daz, Gunstar. Who else do we got? Who else?
Lord Kaibatsu in this.
Yes. California Kid. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. So anyway, what have you guys been up to, man? You've been gaming this week. Any new games cross your plate? I know I've been playing Super Hot. I just finished that game. I highly recommend it for you guys. It's an indie title. The end of the game was pretty frustrating for me. I'm not going to lie. I died. I don't know how many times. I almost threw my controller at my TV, but I did beat the game. I do beat games, unlike Native, but that's besides the point. What do you guys been playing this week? Anything new?
No, man, just Far Cry 5, dude. I'm still getting through that 100%ing each zone, so I am gonna finish that game. Thank you very much, Salty.
Are you?
I am. God damn it, I am.
Don't feel bad, Native. I don't want to pick on you, man. Like this week,
No,
I bought a couple of games during that spring sale, like Agents of Mayhem. I was like $10. I'll pick it up.
Is it
like,
still going on?
Cause, yeah, it's till the 9th of April. And then I started Little Nightmares, like $10. Like, man, this is sweet. So I'm kind of where you're gonna be. I'm gonna have so much shit to play, and now I'm probably just not gonna finish, and now I have to take all the shit that you're getting to. So I feel you.
Here, the thing is that most of the games that I'm playing are multiplayer heavy games, like competitive PvP stuff. Like I bought through the sale, I bought Rainbow Six Siege. I finally took the dive and actually purchased that. I mean, you guys have been listening to me talk for about what? 3-4 months now, always constantly bringing it up. It's on sale again. Should I buy it? And then passing it up. Well, this time I actually bought it and I'm loving it. It just looks very, very rough, but I'll get through it.
Learning curve at that game.
Yeah, try to look behind the pixels and everything, dude.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
So I don't know if you guys heard the news, but I'm part of the Switch gang now. I think Nintendo Direct brainwashed me through Xbox Live. So yeah, I'm part of the Switch club. I went down to Best Buy. There's actually a deal going on with what is it, GameStop, and I had my fatty Xbox just sitting there collecting dust because I upgraded to the Xbox One X. They have a promotion going on right now that you'll get an extra $60, I think, for your systems, your old systems, and it varies based off of if you have a new one. My old fatty day one Xbox was just sitting there, so I went in today, got $150 for it in cash money. I couldn't tell you how fast I wanted to get out of the store once the guy started putting the money in my hands. I was like, I'm
ripping this guy off.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, GameStop bends me over and screws me over. But this is like the first time where I actually felt like I was doing the opposite to them, because on the market, I don't feel like I would have got $50 for the old Xbox. But
hey, I got to say something on that real quick.
What's up?
I took in a fat Xbox just a couple of months back, and they gave me $40 for that thing.
Oh, man.
That's crazy.
Killer.
Yep.
So you gotta, you're in my position. You hear that? I told my wife, and my wife's been playing some Xbox games lately. So if you see me on what is it, Slime Ranchers, that's not me. Okay, that's my wife. She's addicted to it. I might take her to an AA meeting for that. We'll see what happens. But she's been playing that, and she's like, "Oh, we should keep the other Xbox for our kid and for myself." And I was like, "Nah, we'll have to buy another Xbox Live membership." So anyway, I convinced her. I got the money, went to Best Buy, and I got a Switch with Mario Odyssey and Zelda. So I'll let you guys know about that. Shout out to SML909, Brian Baker, Free Jack. What's up, guys? So what else, Fonz? You've been playing Far Cry, right?
Yeah. Far Cry 5 is probably the best Far Cry since 3. I still give the edge to 3. I think 3's story was more coherent. But so far, I'm loving it. I'm just like Native here. I'm trying to clear each zone completely because it's that good. It's that fun. The missions are fun. Everything's cool. Good game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty addictive, man. I did a review on Far Cry 5, so if you guys missed that, feel free to check that out. Shameless plug. Bloody, what have you been playing, man?
This week I actually decided, because of the recent trailers for talking about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I actually went back because of the old Games for Gold that they did like 2 years ago. They gave the definitive edition of the first one. I've actually been playing through that, so that way I can do Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I actually never finished. And now with it being X enhanced, it's going to be a great experience to actually get to enjoy that game, to get set up. Like, I've been going back and slowly working through backlog games when I can break myself away from Monster Hunter for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You've been doing pretty well, man. I mean, I've seen you on. I was like, look, he's not playing Monster Hunter, man. So I'm proud of you.
Well,
Round of applause to you, buddy.
And that's the worst thing about it is today or like in like 2 hours they're going live with the spring update and they're adding in so much stuff and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I gotta go back into it because there's so much cool stuff that they're adding. Like, there's a new weapon that they added that was from a create a weapon contest. That's a giant greatsword that basically has a jet engine on the back of it. And as you charge it, it just starts spewing out fire out the back. And you're just like hitting this monster in the face with this giant metal piece of like dynamite with a rocket attached to the back. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
What?
Sounds nice.
Yeah, I'll send that to y'all later. But man, it's called the Ignition Blade, and it's just a huge giant greatsword with just a rocket on the back of it.
That sounds ridiculous.
Hey,
Awesome.
shout out to So Shady, Lethal Papa, Ashtray Gaming. Thanks for being here. So let's get into our intros. Native, Irrelevant Native, thanks for being here. Fonzarelli, Jay Fonzarelli, thanks for being here. Punk Kiddish Gaming, thanks for being here. And Smash Podcast, aka Bloody Knuckles, thanks for being here. Let's get into the topics, shall we?
Cool.
Let's go.
Sea of Thieves. We're gonna do this real quick. This is one of the first topics, but there was an update that came out, and it's supposed to alleviate the spawn killing. Basically, what happened in the game is you'd get killed, and then they'd spawn you right by the people. This happened to me a bunch of times actually. I would get killed, and I'd spawn at the one of the local. What is it called? The hideouts or whatever. I'm a fraud. Sorry.
The outposts.
Outpost. So you'd spawn there and then they kill you again, spawn there and kill you. I'd actually have to log off and relog in. So they wouldn't kill me. Dude. Yeah, when I'm in a sloop. So that's a good thing. The thing that is interesting is they're not planning on coming out with a big update until around June of 2018. I think this is too long for the game that was kind of devoid of a lot of content. Other than that, they've been putting some patches out there to fix some of the minor issues in the game. What do you guys think of this update? And do you think they're waiting too long to put out that major content update?
I'll take the hit on this one and kind of it out. Okay, whatever. But I mean, it's a bad thing and it's a good thing because one, they did state that right now they're focusing on smaller updates to do weekly things to add in, but they need to get like a start on it like soon and really start putting in something to keep people alleviated because once everyone is starting to hit the pirate legend levels, there's a few people that are doing that. There's not much to go on, that's where it's killing a lot of people and while the game is still fun, there's only so much you could do just doing random nonsense. About it. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing that. I like driving around in the sloop just playing music, acting like everyone's Uber. But you can only do that for so long to where you get bored of it. They need to start putting in something. They need to do these weekly updates. They need to add small content. Look, that's how Monster Hunter has done so well. I was like, granted, Monster Hunter was a more complete game and had much more in it. They've still done weekly events that they've had scheduled out. And, 3 months later, now we're getting their big spring update, doing a big event for the next 2-3 weeks. We've seen it in games like Overwatch. We've seen it in Destiny. Doing a big update and an event kind of stuff a couple months out is not a bad thing, but you have to have something in between to keep it pushing towards that.
It's true, man. I personally think that it's crazy that they're waiting that long for the first update. You know, I think that's the update where they're going to introduce pets that you can buy them and stuff like that. So, Native, what do you think about this this update, real quick, and then we'll go on to the next topic.
Yeah, this update it doesn't hold much water. Pun not intended. There's not much to it. I mean, they changed a spawn point. I mean, yeah, it was something that became broken in the game where you spawn constantly, dying constantly, and everything like that, but getting spawn killed. But you know, if they're trying to keep their player base as much as it's dwindled, pushing updates until June isn't going to help. I mean, it's going to get buried by all these other games that are releasing. I mean, you have a plethora of games coming out, not just for the Xbox, but more so with the PlayStation side. Then, you know, just all these things coming together, it's going to bury Sea of Thieves, and it sucks because this could have been something good for Rare, but I think they're implementing these updates at the wrong time. Their time frame's all messed up.
It's true, man. Punk, what do you think, man? I know it's not your favorite game, but
definitely. I mean, I've only put in like literally 10 minutes of it. Like I think like 3 days after it came out. Like it's bad. It's bad. Like I said, I've been working on backlog games and whatnot and other like personal life stuff. So it's not for me. But like everyone's talking about it being buried by other games. I mean, you have State of Decay coming out a month before it. Like so, it's gonna like own Xbox Tower is gonna like just beat the shit out of it, you know? like that's not good. Yeah, like that's crazy to think because you know everyone, us included, we're gonna be all over that. And if that's still kicking ass a month later, you know, are you really gonna go back to Sea of Thieves? You know,
no.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta think how many games that are coming out that are good and that came out before that I haven't even finished because I keep going back to Monster Hunter. Let that show that of how much of a juggernaut that game has done, at least for me personally.
Yeah, and Punk brought up a great point.
My bad. Yeah.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I was just gonna say maybe that update in June will be enough to actually give me, I don't know, some type of hope to even want to come play with you guys.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead, Fonz, you there, man.
Yeah, you brought up a great point about State of Decay 2. If you guys haven't saw it, the new PAX trailer that came out.
Oh today, man,
that thing looks so nice, man. For that game, from where it came from the first, you know, being that arcade title, it just looks so much more well polished and it just looks ready to go, man. I can't wait to dive into that game.
It looks next gen.
There's so many videos of people recording their gameplay sessions. They're on the arcade machines that are running it at PAX, and it's phenomenal. Like the game just looks so good. Everyone's enjoying it. Like they've shown gameplay of a single juggernaut killing out a whole squad of people. Like this game is going to be probably one of the best survival games, especially zombie, to come out in the last while.
It's true. Yeah, that's a good segue. Matter of fact, that's the next topic. State of Decay 2, man. The more I see of this game, the more I get hyped. I haven't seen a zombie game quite like this. I mean, the first State of Decay game is, you know, the base for this game, but it reminds me so much of The Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to the soundtrack that they had in the background of the trailer, but it is reminiscent of that first season of Walking Dead, the style of that and the way you interact with the zombies. Just it seems really, I think, like, you know.
I think if any zombie game out there was, you know, ever like anything like The Walking Dead, it is State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I played through the first game so much. It just felt like a true survival simulator with zombies in it. Just, I mean, your characters would die off, and you would like get attached to certain characters, and then when they die, you'd get pissed off, and you'd be like, "Damn, what did I do there? I should have done this. I should have done that." You know. And then people started doing these little workarounds. Well, if you turn off your console real fast, you can get back on. No, I like to play through it and, you know, do it the right way. And if a character dies off, they die off, you know. But it makes it that much more exciting, and I can't wait for this game because they've added that whole co-op element, man. I can't wait to play with like you guys and stuff. It's going to be a great time, man. I could see lots of laughs, lots of scares, lots of stuff going on in this game. It's going to be amazing.
Dude, I'm gonna be staying up till like 3 a.m. my time just to get a couple hours. You guys on like surviving on 2 hours of sleep. I see it happening.
Goodbye work. Because that's pretty much what's gonna be happening.
Could you guys
I'm
imagine?
already saving my PTO up, guys.
Yeah, what about like? Could you imagine playing with Darth Vicious and King David at the same time in this game?
God. Dude, I laugh as much as I laugh already way too much in a party chat with those two guys in it. It would be I'd die.
Yeah, honestly, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because if you just talk to Native too, just hear him. He doesn't even have to be playing anything, and he starts giggling like a little girl.
Yeah, you guys, you have to, I don't know, one day we'll do a live stream or something like that with State of Decay 2, like the saltiest live stream or something. We'll get those two people in there. But yeah, Native, he finds something on his phone on, like, I don't know what forums you go on, but he's just cracking up in the background. And sometimes people think he's laughing at them if they're new to the party. It's funny. We got to pay the bills. Nintendo Direct $4.99. This goes out to all the frauds in the podcast, all the fanboys in the chat. Dilly.
That's pretty good.
So shady says, I'm gonna troll dudes online instead of defending my side. I'm going to step aside and usher the zombies in and watch the carnage unfold. Yes. I mean, you could do whatever you want in that game, right? That's what it's all about. You can kind of build your experience. There's more of there's a story actually in this game, but yeah, man, it's exciting.
One thing that I would love to see in State of Decay 2 is you know how in the Walking Dead series, whenever you meet a new survivor, whenever they met a new survivor, it was one of those things where it's like, do we trust them? Do we bring them into the fold?
Yeah.
Or are they just going to screw us over and take all of our shit in the middle of the night, et cetera, et cetera? If they had something like that where NPCs or you could find along the road, you had that same fear, or even other players, you know what I mean? That would be that would probably be the greatest thing for me.
Well, that's actually the interesting thing about it, is that's how the relationship works among the survivors that you have in your camps as it is. That was one of the big things they talked about. Is they actually updated it to where sometimes if a NPC gets disgruntled with you, they will betray the community and either jet off with materials, or they'll leave the community and come back with other like people of their own to attack the community.
Yeah, see that kind of stuff just I can't wait to get into that.
That's what makes it really feel like The Walking Dead, because now you're gonna have, you know, Rick survivors against the governor all over again.
Now this brings up a question that I have. I just thought about it right now. I don't think Microsoft is purposely doing it, but do you think they are in a sense cannibalizing their own games, no pun intended, where they have Sea of Thieves holding off? I mean, Rare's holding off on releasing an update until June. State of Decay 2 comes out a month prior to that update. And I mean, you guys know that State of Decay 2 dropping, the amount that's going to be in that game, the way that it's being marketed and things like that, the gameplay that we've seen so far, that's going to overrule and kind of bury Sea of Thieves. Do you think Microsoft is making some good decisions with this and their timetable? I'm kind of skeptical of it. I mean,
they were delayed.
Looking at it pretty crooked.
Like, when are their original release dates?
I mean, I don't think Sea of Thieves ever had an original time frame, not like Crackdown.
Right.
Everything else was kind of put on hold, but I mean,
yeah. But guys, speaking of Crackdown 3, wasn't that supposed to make a spring release date here this year?
It was.
It was,
and we have no news. They haven't pushed it out.
Nothing.
Yeah, we haven't heard shit. So that's a problem. Right?
I mean, to be fair though, after every little piece of information that did come out about Crackdown, it got immediately like hit with hatred. So it's better to just shut up about it than put out something everyone just start dogging on it, because that game could not catch a break.
But
I don't think that's a viable.
If it has a spring release date, that's what they said, spring 2018.
They did say spring.
Hey, we've got to push it back. Yeah. They got to say something.
Yeah, exactly. that I will agree with.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been hearing rumors about later on, like September-ish and stuff, but
I've heard that that there's a lot of people saying that some of the rumors are is that it'll drop day and date at E3 there in June, or right after E3 in June.
I don't know. I mean,
September now. That's September and October are taken.
That's fine if they do day and date right there. You know, at E3, that's actually a good move for them, I think.
Yeah.
But getting back
from this point until on, not saying anything at all, you think that's a good move?
I mean, it is no. I mean, I think they're hoping that people forget about it. Maybe
I don't think that. It's just that.
No.
I mean, a lot of people who didn't play it said that it felt good, but everyone was just complaining about visuals because of stupid whatever that they're gonna complain about with that game because nothing. So it's one of those things. It's a double-edged sword. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But this one is just like, hey, keeping quiet on it, on everything they're doing is good because people don't have anything to criticize about, but they're going to criticize that they're not saying anything about it. No matter what they do, it's going to hit them one way or the other.
Well, if they drop it day and date on E3, that'll still be spring, right?
Yeah.
It'll be the end of spring.
Yeah, what's the first day of summer? I don't pay attention to that.
They started considering summer as August now, I believe.
No. It's the last day of spring is the 21st.
Okay.
The 21st of June?
In Phoenix, it's summer right now, so that's confusing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't talk to Phoenicians, okay?
Okay. It's hot year round here, but as far as Native's question goes, I don't think that they're overlapping. I think Sea of Thieves had its time to shine. They need to get the hype train rolling for their next title, and honestly, I think State of Decay, it could be that banger for them. Honestly, I mean, from all the news from PAX and all this other stuff and all the trailers, and it looks polished and everything that's pointing towards that. So why not just kind of put Sea of Thieves to the side? Because it is games as a service. It's not like Sea of Thieves is going anywhere. And the next update for Sea of Thieves isn't going to come out for 3 months. And I think that coordinates with E3. They'll probably release some information about the big update then. I think that you rev up for this next title and you go full balls to the wall. That's my opinion. Go ahead.
I agree with it. I
got one question to ask the panel though, because I've watched that trailer twice from PAX, the State of Decay 2, and while I'm watching that trailer, does it not look better than what we saw of the gameplay from IGN just a a few weeks ago?
It does. It really does. Much more polished.
It looks like there's more shadow detail. Like there's it's just looks better to me. I don't know. It could be placebo or something, but it looks better.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, because I was watching the first one, I just watched on my TV, but this one I watched on my phone, which is a Galaxy 8. So I'm like, is it my phone that's making it look that much better? Or does it actually look that much better? Something to think about. I'm being serious, man. Like when I look at shit on my Samsung, it looks way better.
He's like,
the screen is amazing, dude.
That's the real Samsung salty that he's talking about.
The Galaxy with the C.
Yeah, that's that OLED screen for you, man. You need an OLED TV.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lord Kaibatsu. You guys are Switch Gang. Yeah, the Iron Lord. Shout out to the Iron Lord. Shout out to Brap. Shout out to Lady Foxfire. Thanks for being here. But yeah, man, I think when it comes to revving up for your next games, like if you look at PS4, they talked about God of War, got that news out, and then boom, Spiderman. So I think that they're the announcements aren't too close together. I think State of Decay 2 is going to be huge for Microsoft. But let's get into the next topic, shall we?
Let's go.
PUBG. There's a couple news topics I want to talk about. They're coming out with this. It's like a team deathmatch mode. I watched some gameplay of it. PUBG is trying to stay neck and neck with Fortnite. So all of a sudden, it's just like PUBG didn't have shit. They had this new map, and they didn't have emotes. They didn't have this and that. They didn't have weapon skins. They didn't have new game modes. And it's like Fortnite shot up on the list on Twitch, and then it's like all of a sudden the developer starts doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why weren't you doing this before? But that's besides the point. There's this deathmatch mode, and it's weird. People parachute in. There's two teams, and you get loadouts, and you can shoot people. If you die, you don't die forever. You have to parachute back in. It's interesting. Like, what do you guys think of a team deathmatch mode in PUBG? I know, Native, you're hardcore into this game, or you were. Do you think it's a good thing for the game, or it's kind of corny?
I think that I love PUBG. You guys know that. You just said that. But them being able to evolve and say, we're gonna give this a go. We see this work on another game, et cetera, et cetera. Why not? Why not test the waters? Why not go ahead and let your dev team try some new things? You know what I mean? And if the players like it, the players will decide whether it stays or whether it goes, and whether or not the studio can continue supporting that, you know, with their servers and everything. All right, let's do it. I'm personally not for it. I like the open world. I like the way that it is right now. I don't think I'd want a smaller PUBG or a smaller map or et cetera, et cetera. That's just not for me. And I know that there's a lot of people that agree with me on that. But there's also that other side that's like, well, Fortnite's taking the reins, and Fortnite's the one that's leading the charge with Battle Royale at this moment. And PUBG needs to be more, what's the right word? They just need to evolve. They need to grow. They need to try new things. So I don't know, man. I really hope that it works out for them. But if not, then stick to what they do best. I love the format that it's at right now, the 1 versus 100. You know, just that open, slow, tactical crawl towards the finish line. That's something that you can't get in Fortnite. And I think that that's where it should be. You know, they should stay in their lanes. But that's just me. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Let's try it out, though. I'm still willing to game. So if anybody of you guys on the panel or in the chat want to team up, let's do it. Let's do it.
Damien D says Battle Royale will be dead in 2019.
Oh.
I don't know about Battle Royale being dead in 2019. I think it's a trend that a lot of games are going to copy. As far as PUBG, we'll see about that. Fortnite is steamrolling the competition. Fonz, what's your take on this death match situation? I know you haven't played PUBG much, but
yeah, but you know that old adage, if you can't say nothing, remember. I seriously. Honestly, I'm not a big PUBG fan, so it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Anybody else have some comments? Bloody.
Well, I think it's actually a pretty cool idea, because while yes, it doesn't work because some people are going to complain because it's a little bit more of a realistic game, especially with the survival shooter. It's worked for Fortnite, and you could go because that Fortnite is more unrealistic, it's cartoony, whatever you want, but they experiment. They did the 50v50 with those modes, and they did the 20v20v20v20v20. They experiment, and it works out because it gets new people to try a different thing. We're already seeing that with the desert map in Miramar. Now a lot of people who are playing in the test server got to play on the new Savage map, which is that smaller island, which makes it a lot more chaotic. A lot of people are saying that they're learning more on learning self-defense in that game, doing the small maps and having fun with it, because it becomes an intense firefight nonstop. But it takes away the tension, but it's still pretty cool. I think if they're gonna do a big 50v50 like this, let them try it out. I mean, what's the harm, especially on a big map like that? Even if they're doing it on a smaller one, that's still a lot of open area. It's still a very realistic shooter. Yeah, it's pre-loadouts, but you still have to play it tactically no matter what. Let them do something different. I'm all for it. Let PC work out the kinks and then bring it over.
I agree with you to a certain extent, though, Bloody, because when you look at Fortnite, you see mobility. You see that you're able to churn a lot faster. You're able to jump, really high and continue jumping over and over and over again. Try doing that in PUBG. It's not going to fly very well. It's not going to work very well. It's it's clunkier. You have more weight to your character, to your avatar, to the player. So going into a small map like that and trying to navigate through that chaos, it doesn't translate very well. It doesn't translate the same way that Fortnite did, and it doesn't. And when Dying Light comes out with their own battle royale thing, I think it's like 5v5.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the perfect meld between. That's gonna be that perfect boiling point between Fortnite and PUBG, because you have that realistic vibe of PUBG, but you have that same mobility, same speed as Fortnite. So that one's gonna be the one that I'm looking for when it comes to that perfect blend. But PUBG doing what Fortnite's doing, it's not gonna work. I just don't see it working very well. The Savage map, if it's playing well on PC, it's much easier to play that type of mode with that type of game with the keyboard and mouse. Definitely. I can't imagine myself jumping into a PUBG 20 versus 20 or 5v5 or 10v10, whatever the hell it may be, with a controller, because it's just too clunky of a game. It's just too heavy. That's just my opinion right there.
I can agree to that. There are definitely aspects in a lot of the animation as well as the movement where it's very clunky. I will not ever deny that fact. It does have that aspect. I just think that with them experimenting and trying to do more, it's a good thing. You know, it's them trying to keep the game going. They're updating in their own way. They already know that they're adding new weapons and stuff on the new Savage map. They're going to be adding new cosmetics and stuff like they've been doing things like that. But actually game content, I think this is something that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, man. Punk, what were you gonna say? I cut you off earlier. What you had something to say, right?
Good. I was gonna say, like, with all these PUBG news, like, yeah, it's good that they're trying to try new things, but at the end of the day, like, if anyone here enjoys it, obviously since it finally came to Xbox, when they come out with any type of news, you're like, okay, there's nothing set in stone because obviously it's going on the test servers, but how long are we waiting? You know, that makes it even worse for us. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So another thing to add to this news topic, since it's PUBG, this is a better topic in my opinion. So come to find out, so mouse and keyboard was going to be supported on Xbox. It's been talked about for a long time. Microsoft has said, yeah, we're going to bring mouse and keyboard. Yeah, we're going to bring mouse and keyboard. Years and years go by, and they still haven't done it. And then Mike Ybarra even talked about it, and he said, you know, on a wide scale, we're not going to implement it. It's going to be on a developer basis. So the developers can choose whether or not they want to implement it for their game. PUBG, you know, the people came out and said, hey, we're going to do mouse and keyboard support. Come to find out, there's been backlash from players. They try to implement it, and they're taking that away permanently. I think this is a good news for gamers on console, because honestly, we've talked about this before. Mouse and keyboard does not belong on consoles. It doesn't. It's a console for a reason. Anytime you get mouse and keyboard up against a controller in the console space, the mouse and keyboard is going to wreck the person that's on a controller, and especially in an environment like this where there's snipers, it's slower gameplay. I want to know what you guys think. You know, what's your thoughts about this? I think this is good because it just shows that if we voice our opinions as gamers, the developers will listen. Who wants to chime in?
I'll go ahead. I've been saying that for years when people were like, "Oh, they want mouse and keyboard support." I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't want it." I could understand if, you know, an option. You know, an option is fine, but you're just going to go into it knowing you're going to get your ass kicked. If you flip that option and you go in there and play against mouse and keyboard, have fun. Okay. I guarantee 9 times out of 10 people are going to back out of that mode, and they're never going to play that option again after the first time, because it's horrible. It's horrible to play against guys that are really good with mouse and keyboards. I don't know why people really want this in shooters on consoles. It makes no sense to me. Well, you know what? It makes sense if they want the advantage, if they want the upper hand and they want to use mouse and keyboard. I get that. But a lot of us that are console gamers prefer controllers. I prefer the controller over mouse and keyboard. I've been on the PC. I hated every second of playing a shooter on PC because of mouse and keyboard. And people will tell me, well, you can use a controller on PC. Yeah, I know, but it sucks against people with mouse and keyboard.
The latency.
What's the point?
Yeah.
So Shady said it could wreck with mouse and keyboard. It depends on skill at the end of the day with either control option. I kind of disagree with that. What do you guys think? I mean, it does take skill, but in my opinion, I think you know, if you get the right person with mouse and keyboard, it's crazy. The point and click aspect of a mouse and keyboard is just so precise when it comes to aiming, precise. You know, so
there's a significant learning curve when it comes to certain games. Like, for instance, Gears of War 4, you have the option of playing against PC players. If you don't have an elite controller and you're in a PC gaming lobby, you're going to get wrecked, because it's much easier to hit the Q and the E button to wall bounce than it is to hit those bumpers. Or if you have an elite controller, you have those paddles, and that's the only way that you're able to compete with those guys. So if they're going to bring in mouse and keyboard, I want the option to have mouse and keyboard, but only in a competitive setting. I mean, you see that they have different, you know, categories, multiplayer modes, et cetera, et cetera. They have the competitive, and then they have the casual, the core, you know, play, lobbies and everything like that. In a competitive setting, that's where mouse and keyboard will shine. And that's where you'll get those players that are going to really be gung-ho about, oh, no, you need a mouse and keyboard in order to be on our team, in order to play this competitive mode. That I would agree with. That's the only way that I can see it going, if they were to keep the mouse and keyboard on. But since they're killing it for PUBG, good, because I don't want to play anybody using a mouse and keyboard on PUBG. No, hell no.
Yeah,
and if I wanted to do that, I'd buy a PC.
Somebody pointed out in the chat that mouse and keyboard is already available through third party, and that is very true. You can play pretty much any game with mouse and keyboard, but it's not as good as having that real support through the game and everything. So it's not exactly the same, but it is there. It's an option. But if they put an option in the game, guys, honestly, that wouldn't bother me so much if it is an option, you know, that I wouldn't care, because if people wanted to play with a mouse and keyboard, they have that option. They can go and do it, you know, and that's fun. Whatever, you know.
Sure. That's true, man. So Bloody, what do you think, man?
It's a good thing, because, you know, as people say that it is going to come down to one of those things that not everyone on a controller can compete with people with mouse and keyboard. However, not everyone is people will try to get used to mouse and keyboard, and mouse and keyboard takes a lot of time to really get used to really use it, as well as it also depends on a lot of different things. One, how fluid they are naturally with typing, because for some keyboards, you know, the WASD key is easier to do, but not everyone is able to do that. And with mouses, you got to think mouses have different movement settings, or what's called DPI. There's some mouses that are able to adjust it on the fly. That's how some people are able to do those quick turns easily, but not everyone has the reaction time to be able to place those shots really quickly when they do those quick turns. So it is one of those back and forth kind of things. It's going to be a good thing, it's going to be a bad thing. Even those who do use it, not everyone is a skilled FPS player that has you know, god mouse and keyboard skills, but it's one of those things that can happen over time. Whereas, you know, skills with a controller are kind of set, because the only difference that you could really fight against is with the Elite controller. You could change some of the
paddles.
Well, not even the paddles. In the Elite controllers, you could change the dead zones for reaction from the controllers. So you can have it work more instantaneous, so it'll turn you faster as soon as you start turning the stick at a faster rate than, you know, if you had that turned off. That's the one thing that the Elite controllers can kind of give back in that aspect, but not everyone's going to drop $150 on the Elite controllers. You know, it's one of those things.
Lady Foxfire said third-party stuff has bad latency. I've never had the third-party stuff, but I mean, that seems right to me. When it's not like, you know, supported by the devs or, you know, Microsoft or Sony or anybody like that, it's going to be not as good quality. Punk, what do you think of the news before we move forward?
I'm old school, kind of more with Fonz. I mean, like, it just shouldn't be in this on the console. I mean, we buy consoles for a reason, and that's where I stick. Like, I bought my PC last year, and as I told you, and that's when I actually bought PUBG first. I'm just damn terrible with it. You know, like, granted, I don't have the time. I will not put in the time for it. It's not my zone, but I don't believe that it belongs here. It's pointless.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move into the next topic. So, Insomniac Games. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but there's a couple of news stories out. Let's talk about Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's coming out this September. It received a release date, and I just got a Switch. And let me tell you, it was a tough decision for me, because God of War is coming out and Spider-Man. Ultimately, I went with the Switch because of my kid. I wanted her to have something to play as well. But let's talk about this release date, man. I think this is a good release date for this game. It's before the big holiday season rush. I think September is a perfect date for it. And let me tell you, man, the gameplay from Spider-Man just looks incredible. I think Insomniac was a perfect studio to make this game. I love Sunset Overdrive. It has that open world aspect to it, and then, you know, the scaling and going on the buildings. But man, this looks amazing to me, guys. What do you guys think of Spider-Man's release date, and are you guys excited for it?
As someone who doesn't have a PlayStation, I'm excited to see the game come out, because I've seen so much of it. Last E3, they had an old little like theater where you can go and sit in and watch, watch some clips and stuff like that. It was pretty neat, and the game looked really good. Then it looks like a lot of fun. It really does. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I had a PlayStation to pick this up, but I think it's a perfect timing only because it's September. You have October, November, December, boom, DLC drop or something like that. You know what I mean? Just to get players back into it. Because once that holiday rush hits, people are going to be all over the damn place playing different games. I mean, so much crap is going to come out between September and that. You have what else? You have Call of Duty Black Ops 4, things like that. Those big games that are going to be coming. Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, Sony's killing it right now. Sony's killing it. I'm not going to lie. Sony's killing it with their release dates and the games that they're bringing out before that holiday rush. Because those bigger, larger titles like the ones I mentioned, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Red Dead Redemption, the rumored Modern Warfare 2, like it's a smart play. Kudos to Sony for that one.
So Shady says it's a poor man's Batman. Christina says Spider-Man has too many QTEs for her. She's not excited. Born Distracted saying August would have been a better time to come out. School's out. Okay. Fonz, what do you think, man? I know Spider-Man's your favorite superhero. Let's talk about it.
Well, first off, I've got to say nobody knows how many QTEs are in the game. Second, poor man's Batman. Spider-Man kicks Batman's ass all day long.
Okay.
All day.
That's right.
All day.
Spider-Man is my favorite character. It doesn't matter what superhero what class you go with, Marvel or DC. Spider-Man is it for me. Excited on that point alone, but it being an Insomniac game and it looking as good as it does, and hopefully it plays as well as it looks, because it looks like it's going to be fun. And yeah, it does have elements of like that whole Batman combat system, the Arkham series. That looks good. I'm excited. I hate to say it, but it looks like Sony has another winner on its hands for the year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I just think that I was hoping for a late July, early August release date for my birthday. Didn't happen. Got to wait till September. I think that's kind of off by a month, but oh well. It's going to do well in September.
Yeah.
Okay. Punk, I know Spider-Man's your favorite too, man. What do you think?
Yeah, believe it or not, man, Fonz and I have a lot of stuff in common. It's kind of creepy, really.
Both frauds.
Yeah, but no, but to Shady says the poor man's Batman. He has that Batman-itis, just no one can beat him, just no one can beat Batman. That's the end of the day. And those people are something else. No, the game looked phenomenal. My brother and I were also we were both hoping it was gonna hit like a July date off. That would have been sweet. But at least having a date is half the battle, So with all the games coming out, we have plenty to play. The gameplay looks phenomenal. I can't tell you how many times I've watched it. I feel like it gets better every time I watch it. I have nothing but great things to say. I mean, like I said, Sony, they're just crushing the game right now. I mean, God of War's coming out soon. I'll probably be on my PlayStation a lot more this year than I thought I'd ever be. So yeah, really excited.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I played more on my Xbox this past year than I have my PlayStation, which has been odd this generation, because this whole generation I've been playing mostly on my PlayStation. But last year, I'm sorry, I don't go with the rest of the guys in that camp about it being a fantastic 2017 for me. Gaming last year wasn't that great. This year looks way better for me, way better.
Yeah.
Yep,
agreed.
Yep. So, Bloody, what's your thoughts, brother?
For me personally, I'm excited for it. It looks great. Insomniac did amazing with the character models, the animation, the combat. It all looks great. It does definitely the fighting is very reminiscent to the Arkham style, but who cares? I like the Batman Arkham style of fighting that worked well with it. It's gone into many other games, and it's just a genre or a style of using combat. That's all it is. But they are able to mix it up with the mobility of Spider-Man and a lot of the web sling stuff.
Bingo.
Shut up. They still had that even in Batman, you know, with him being very mobile and using the gadgets. But still, it's cool that it's looking so great. They're doing a lot with it. They already stated that they have DLC story chapters that they're going to add over time after the game launches. You know, I'm glad that they have a solid release date. Insomniac is one of the best independent developers out there, and I'm glad that they're getting the attention, that they're doing a big game like this, and that it's looking so great. You know, we've all made fun of the old Spider-Man games based on the movies as well as even some of the original ones, but some of their own Spider-Man games were cool in their own way. But this one is just on a whole nother level, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it. It has me wanting to get a PS4 even more so now, because that's an exclusive I absolutely want besides God of War and Detroit, because I enjoyed Heavy Rain and Two Souls or Beyond Two Souls. So Detroit is another one of the big ones. You know, it's going to be some great exclusives out of Sony this year. I always give credit to their developers. Their developers and the teams that they have are always doing something phenomenal. I can't speak.
Wow.
You know what? Something though. You know, Knuckles, you talked about how they already have all this set up for DLC and everything. And every time you mention something like that, I hear that cash register. Cha-ching. Yep. That's all I hear, man.
Hey, Sony's got to make that money somehow.
It's that microtransaction world we live in, man. Sucks.
That's true. I'll pay $5 for the black suit Spider-Man. I don't give a shit.
There goes Native. All this stuff. He's one of those whales they love.
I'm really not, though. I mean, you really wouldn't believe that, but I'm really not. But I want to say something more. I didn't really play any of the Arkham games. I played the first one, Arkham Asylum, and that was it. That was enough for me to know, okay, these other ones, it's going to be the same damn thing, just a different backdrop. You know, and the one thing that really kind of turned me off from the Arkham games was the combat. I'm not gonna lie, it was the combat. It felt really heavy, and it was, I don't know, it was tedious. I didn't really care for it. The non-stop combo system, I really didn't care for that. But the way it looks with Spider-Man, I can see it more resonating with me because he's more agile, because he's more fluid of a fighter, he's more mobile, just like you said, Bloody. So that's the combat is actually what's exciting me. Is what's got me excited for Spider-Man. So
you just mentioned something too. The combat style taken from Arkham, the Arkham series, it actually fits Spider-Man's style more than it does Batman.
Exactly.
That's
exactly what I'm saying. Better. Yeah, I agree with that, and that's what's got me wanting to, like you said, Bloody, pick up another PlayStation and grab that game because it just looks so damn good. I want to play it. Fonz, give me your PlayStation.
I need a play.
That's not happening. Not with that game coming out.
Yeah.
That's a negative.
Well, that's a good topic, though, man. I love it.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a huge success for PlayStation. It's not a surprise there. It would have been interesting to see if this game could have come out with, the Spider-Man Homecoming, or right when that was coming out, or maybe, right when the Avengers came out to take advantage of the popularity. But I think it's a good, date, and we'll see, what kind of numbers it puts out. I was also going to ask Chad.
Let me interject right there. It actually does come out at a perfect time.
Okay.
Because I believe it's 2 weeks before they release their big animated movie, which is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Oh, that's true. Okay. That's good. I was actually thinking of that movie in my head because the way the game is and stuff like that. But yeah, that's cool. So it's a good date for them. Chat, what game do you think is going to sell more? God of War, put 1 for God of War, 2 for Spider-Man. My guess is going to be God of War. I've said it before. I think it's going to sell more, but we'll see. So the next topic of the day, Spyro. Spyro, the little purple dragon. He holds a special place in a lot of hearts of people because when this news came out that a remastered trilogy is coming to PS4 and Xbox One, there was a lot of people on my Twitter feed that were losing their minds. I didn't know that many people loved this game. Personally, I have never played a Spyro game in my life. I did the video and people were saying that I was a fraud for liking these type of games, and I got all kinds of hate from PlayStation fanboys. They're listing off their games that are coming out this year. No one asked them to, but it's interesting, man. This game looks amazing. They do side-by-side comparisons of what it used to look like and what it looks like now. You're going to be getting 3 games there, like I said in my video. The original creators of this game were Insomniac Games, so they're in the news a lot lately. But it's interesting because this news has sparked some controversy when it comes to these fanboys. Like I said before, I've never seen some of the people that went in my comments section, and they were just going off, man. Like, Xbox shouldn't have these games. You're part of the problem. It's like, no, dude, people have different preferences, you know? Like, at the end of the day, people can be excited for Spyro. You can play Spyro if you're an older adult, or kids can play, you know? So anyway, in this trilogy, you're going to get it, Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon. They're all going to be remastered, but it sounds more like they're going to be a remake to me, because they're changing the controls up. The soundtrack's going to be a little bit different. The characters are going to look a little bit different, and they're changing a lot of the way the game is, because some of these older games, once you go back to them, the camera angles suck. The controllers are kind of wonky, but they're redoing a lot of this stuff, and it's going to be coming out in September at, what was it, a $40 price point. So it's exciting for a lot of people. I myself am excited that my daughter gets to play this. For myself, I don't know, it's not much for me. But what do you guys think of the Spyro trilogy coming out? Bloody, do you want to start us off?
I was gonna say I'll start this one, because this one. And we talked about this when we made the announcement for.
He's gonna cry.
Is that this game does have a very special place, because this is one of the games that I grew up playing. I had the first 2 Spyro games. I played those on the PS1 back when I was a kid. So this game, especially getting a remaster, and the visuals in this game is completely outdone. Like, it's so phenomenally well looking, and it's actually a funny time that this game got confirmed, is that my roommate is actually playing through the first 3 on an emulator, and we were talking about that, and we actually just saw the trailer, and it's just like, dude, this is something crazy to see these kinds of games getting these overhauls and major reintroduction to a new generation. I don't care if you're old, you know, or you're young. This is a game that you can enjoy. Those old classic platformers were the foundation for a lot of games that we have nowadays. The fact that people will absolutely shit on them, no matter if they're exclusive, not exclusive, they're on one console, not console, it doesn't matter. It has a place in the history of gaming. Let it be enjoyed by those who want to enjoy it. What's the big deal about that, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird to me. I think it's just because a lot of people played these games on PlayStation. A lot of those
No,
you know?
I disagree. It has nothing to do with that. It's just because these people are just, you know, they want
you should
console war, dude. That's all it's about. It's done.
It is about that, Fonz, but honestly, the people in my comment section, I've never seen them, and I sent you guys a screenshot. I even tweeted about it. The guy's like, "Yeah, I'm excited for Spyro. I'll play it on my PlayStation, and with God of War and Spiderman and this and that and that." And it's like, okay, you guys are just flaming the console war. I get that, but you don't think that there's anybody out there that's a little bit salty that it's coming to other consoles, because it was first Crash Bandicoot and now Spyro, which are both traditionally found on the PlayStation.
The only people I can see getting like that are people that are into this console war. Because for me, like, I don't care. Like, if they put Halo on PlayStation next week, I don't care. I don't personally care. For me, it's games, guys. Get over it. It's video games. Have fun. Stop this BS console war crap, fighting over video games all the time, fighting over these plastic boxes that play these video games. That's what's worse. It's not about the games. It's about the box. It's about that thing sitting in your living room that plays the games that they're all just concerned about.
Exactly. It's the
it's
whole
not a
stupid green
plastic
versus
ball.
blue shit. It's dumb as hell, man.
It's an altar that they pray at every day.
Yeah, man.
They
It's
get to their
video
corporate
games.
overlords, and they have to make their daily offering.
You know, I turn that box on, almost daily. I turn it on to get away from the stresses and the bullshit of everyday life, of all the shit I have to deal with at work, of all the shit I have to deal with, amongst my family members and stuff. I turn that on and I escape for a little while. And it's just, I have fun, and I have, I create memories and fun with friends and everything on party chats and stuff. I don't think about, man, I wish that this console had this or that had that. No, if a console has a game that's exclusive, I buy that friggin' console if I want to play that game. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Gaming is gaming. Just leave it at that, man.
I think a lot of people are salty coming off of the whole Crash Bandicoot thing, though. Yeah. I will agree with Salty saying that people are bothered. Fanboys are bothered by, oh, look at this game was a Sony exclusive. Now it's coming to other platforms. What? And it's getting them salty. I mean, that's all that it is. And it's stupid. We know that it's stupid. We see it as stupid. But to them, it's a crucial moment in their life where they have to say something. They have to be negative. And that's just what we're dealing with in the community. But the more that we continue to see this trend going on where these games, these timed exclusive things are happening. I mean, Spyro's dropping on both consoles. It's dropping. Exactly. So the more that becomes a trend, the more fanboys will start to lose their ground. They will start to, you'll start to see them disperse. And the thing is, when I look at thinking about this whole podcast right now, we've all said good things about both consoles. I mean, we've said bad things about Sea of Thieves. We've said good things about State of Decay. We've said bad things about Spider-Man. We said good things about Spider-Man. We said, I mean, we're going back and forth. We have an open dialogue, and I think that's what's really missing in this community is just an open dialogue to praise everything.
We may say bad things about certain things, but not in a malicious way. Not
exactly
because we hate that box we're talking about, or we hate that game we're talking about. We're talking about it, and we're giving our feedback and our opinions based on what we feel, what we truly feel about a game, not what we think other people want to hear with dramatic purposes and dramatic effect and all that stuff.
Shout out
that stuff.
Shout out to Jesse Darby. He said, I bet you both Sony and Xbox are sitting there laughing at us for the ones that are big with this console stuff. Here's the deal, man. When it comes to the end of the day, they just want to make money, right? These consoles are in it to make money, and then if you're at the altar praying to your brand of choice, it's not going to work out in the end. We see it with these video games traditionally that were exclusives. They're in the end, like Crash, if it comes to Xbox or anywhere else, it's just good for the consumer when it goes to a lot of different areas because people get to try it out. I put a question to the chat. Which one would you think's a better title, Crash Bandicoot or Spyro? I forgot which order I put it in there, but make sure you put that in the chat, which one you prefer. Anybody else want to chime in on the topic before we move on?
Yeah, real quick. With these remasters of these old games, I think it's great because a lot of people forget, like, again, we're a little bit older. So think of the kids that are like 10, 12 years old to play something like this that we played back in the day. And then they get to play it at a way better level than we got to play it at. And I think people forget about that. So they get to jump in this game and see this fascinating world that we saw in terrible graphics, which we thought were amazing then. People just need to keep that. They need to keep that stuff in the back of their head. And people just forget about it, and it's kind of aggravating. And I know, Salty, you said you were excited for your daughter to play it, And that's great, man. People just need to get over this shit. I'm tired of it myself.
Yo, I'm right there with you.
And honestly, to piggyback off of that, it was funny because in the comment section of my video, shout out to the hater, whoever put this comment, but he's just like, man, this guy sounds like he's in his 30s or 40s and he's excited for a cartoony game like Spyro. First of all, I didn't say I was excited for it. I said it looks good and I'm excited for my kid to play it, but that was a correction there. But even if I was, who are you to tell me that I'm not supposed to play that type of game?
Get 'em.
Here's the deal. Like, traditionally, the Xbox is seen as the quote unquote shooter box But don't let that fool you. People can play whatever the fuck they want, and it's not your place to tell them otherwise. There's this narrative that's going around, and it's through the community or whatever you want to put it. If you're an adult, you should play mature games, and you should play, you know, the realistic looking games. You should play whatever the fuck you want, and that don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
How many 50-year-olds are playing fucking Mario? You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And not only that, but you look at you. Here's the thing that really bothers me. These people, most of them are in their 30s, late 30s, 40s, whatever, and they consider themselves achievement hunters. They look for those achievements. These guys are playing Barbie games for those achievements. Those guys are playing Super Lucky's Tale for those achievements, and they want to come out the gate saying, "Oh no, the same thing with the trophy hunters. People are hunting trophies, and they're playing games that are just as kiddish as Spyro or Crash Bandicoot, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm just doing it for the achievements." You're doing it. You're playing these games for a digital little picture of a trophy, nothing that offers anything of value to you besides, "Hey, look at my trophies." That's it. If that's not I don't get it, dude. I don't get it, and it's frustrating to think about for someone to have the audacity to be a trophy hunter or achievement hunter, but then turn around and tell me you can't play that game because you're an older cat. And it's a kiddish game. It's an immature game, bitch. You're over there trying to fucking hunt trophies with these stupid ass games, and it's unbelievable.
Let's be honest. They may say that you're playing a childish game or whatnot, but then they're sitting there playing something like, let's say, Batman Arkham. Okay, now there's a mature theme to it, sure. But you're playing a comic book character, okay?
Exactly.
Lots of people out there would look down on you and say that that's a childish thing to do. I mean, think about it. We're all nerds here. We all play these video games. Yep. We all have fun with them. At the end of the day, you're no better than us. You're no better than anybody. So
exactly. Stop. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying that it's a console thing, saying that you're hunting trophies or that you're hunting achievements. You're probably sitting at your desk on your phone playing Clash of Clans or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me that. Don't spin me that.
Exactly. And this is one of the things too, is that people fail to understand is that with this remaster, the controls that they're doing, then retouching, is significantly well improved to today's standards. Because if you go back and play those old games, they didn't have dual axis or twin stick way back in the day. The camera and controls back in the day sucked shit.
Yeah, it did. You get into a corner, you're just screwed.
Yeah. My roommate's playing it and watching him try to fight with it because he's using an Xbox controller on the emulator. He cannot use his right stick at all, so he's having to sit there constantly readjust with the left stick. It's horrible.
I got to be honest, too. I'm not even a fan of Spyro the Dragon. I didn't like the game back when it popped on the PlayStation 1. It wasn't for me. But I'm not going to hate on it because other people want to play it. I mean, think about that, guys. You hate on something that's coming out that other people are excited for. Like, if it's not for you, play something else. Continue to play whatever it is you're playing.
Hey, shout out to the people that shit on people for playing Spyro and they're playing Candy Crush. Candy Crush on the DL, racking up bills on their iPhones or whatever. So in the end of the day, I mean, you play what you want to play. I think it's good news that this shit's coming out for the new generation or for the old generation to experience it in 4K or whatever. So we'll move on to the next topic if you guys don't have anything else to say.
Well, one last thing. If you want to play that Flappy Bird, go ahead and play that Flappy Bird.
That was a hot
slap something on your forehead, goddamn.
So the next topic is an interesting one. Xbox is rumored to have exclusive marketing rights for some interesting games coming up. A website, Rectify Gaming, reports that, sources close to Microsoft have confirmed that Microsoft is going to be having exclusive marketing rights for games like Madden, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, The Division 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Anthem, Battlefield, the new Battlefield, and the new Splinter Cell and Borderlands 3. Damn, there's a lot of them. Here's the deal, man. even if not all of these come to fruition or reality, even if let's say half of them come to become reality, this is a big upgrade to what we've been used to seeing in the Microsoft camp when it comes to exclusive marketing rights, because the last couple of years it's been bleak. I think last year, what did they have? They had the new Assassin's Creed game, and they had the, what was it, the Shadow of War game, but they didn't have much. And it seems like Sony was snatching up all the marketing rights. Every game that came out, a big game, it was Sony. They had the exclusive marketing rights. So it's interesting, man. Some of these titles on here, some big hitters. Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077, Anthem is huge. The Division 2 is huge. Yeah. Borderlands 3 is huge.
All huge.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of this rumored list here? And do you think it's good for Microsoft? Go ahead.
My question. Go ahead, Punk. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I'm most excited. I mean, again, hoping that the rumor is true for at least half of them. To watch something on YouTube or as you're watching TV, to just see Xbox at the end of a damn ad would be amazing. Like, I mean, like, that goes so far because everyone talks about how bad their advertising is and everything else. So for them to lock something down, I don't care if it's for a month or a couple of DLCs. Like, we need this for anything. I mean, we just need it so bad, dude. Like, anything's a big bump.
It's true. It's true, man. I personally don't really care about the exclusive marketing rights, but I do think it's important for the brand, honestly. Right. We were talking about what propelled Sony to the heights that they're at. And we know that Xbox had a lot of stumbles out the gate, the Kinect, and we won't get into any of that, all that other stuff. We talked about it before, but I think one of the major things that they've done right, and it's kind of, you look back to the previous generations, the marketing rights are big for the console and console sales. I think it's huge, Fonz, what do you think, man?
Oh, here's the problem. Are we going to get the same type of marketing rights we saw Sony go after at the beginning of the gen or now? Because now they're really not doing anything with the marketing rights they've had with several games this last year.
That's true.
To me, they've really faltered on that. But if you think about the beginning of the gen, when they had like the marketing rights for Destiny, they had a lot of stuff in there that they took away from Xbox, and Xbox just got like that stuff like late last year. Like all the stuff they had in the original game. So if they go after stuff like that, where they actually have content that PlayStation doesn't have, then that is the big draw for marketing rights, not the whole, we have this game, we could advertise our name on the end of a commercial, because that's pretty much all they did with like Star Wars Battlefront 2. So with Xbox, are they going to actually have content? Or are they going to have things that PlayStation doesn't have, so people want to buy it? And the streamers and stuff that stream these games, are they going to want to, because they usually buy the one with the most content, because they have to have everything. So that is the big draw for this. We just have to figure out what their marketing strategy is going to be. If this is true, though, that is a lot of big, heavy bangers there in that list. And
it is, man.
That is fantastic. Fantastic.
Hey, think back, Fonz, you think back to Destiny 1, and the exclusive marketing rights was heavy for that game. Yes. It's one of the most popular games, and I was on Xbox and I was like, damn, this shit is crazy, the way this is going. And then they have all these lists of games that are coming out, and if it's done right, it does move consoles, and it is important for the marketing and everything else for the brand. Punk, what do you think of this list? Anything stand out to you? You think it's a move in the right direction, even if some of these come true?
It's definitely moving in the right direction. Obviously, if you look at that list, you already know which one I want. It's that Splinter Cell. I mean, it doesn't have to be exclusive to Xbox or anything. Fonz brought the good point, with it be like exclusive weapon or like have something for a couple months or whatnot. That's what people want. And you're talking about Destiny. What was it? We got the Jade Rabbit 3 years later. Like that. That's dumb. Like, the year thing was that was a lot, dude. Like, that's a long time to wait for something. That's just kind of effed up. I really wouldn't even want Xbox to do that. Like, a couple of months or something's fine, but that's just too long for something like that. That's a killer. for the game itself.
Yeah, but the thing is, Punk, is that's why these companies do that sort of thing, because they're trying to outdo the competition, and that's what Microsoft needs to do. Honestly, I think they've held back far too long this generation. They need to go after this stuff, and I know this goes against everything that Phil Spencer said at the beginning of the gen. He didn't like these marketing rights and these deals and stuff. But guess what?
He knows that was a mistake.
That's what wins the console race.
It's true.
It does.
And in the end, he has to go back to his boss and show figures. So that's, in the end of the day, that's what matters. But who else? Bloody, what's your thoughts, man? You excited for any of these titles?
Absolutely. If you're not excited for these titles, it doesn't matter that these are multiplats. If you're not excited for any of these, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Cyberpunk 2077, the most ambitious open world RPG coming straight from CD Projekt, who's been living it off of Witcher and how successful that's been as an RPG. Anthem is the next big thing coming from BioWare. Despite how people are feeling it right now, it has a lot of ambition and it's looking really cool. Everything else that's just on that list, these are massive titles. These are not something small that they're getting the marketing rights for. These are absolutely big titles. This isn't nothing to laugh at. Now, with the whole marketing deal, I know where you're coming from, Alphonse, about keeping the content away if they're going to do what Sony did, especially with like Destiny and others. Yes, that's definitely something that should be done. However, we also know how Phil Spencer feels about keeping content from others. However, there is that fine line where he could do both without overstepping it. The thing about it is that with these marketing deals and you're going to do exclusive content like that or anything, don't do the vague jargonistic bullshit that Sony pulled off with Destiny. Look at what they did the first time. It's like the content is locked away till at least a year later, whatever they say. Like with everything that came from the Taken King, they said it would be exclusive until at least 2016. Then they changed it to at least 2017 when they did Rise of Iron and everything else. That they use that vague language that allows them to extend and play with the time frame at any time. That's not what you do, because it went against them in the Destiny community, because even the people on the Sony side have said, okay, 2 years without this stuff and it's not even that much. This is bullshit. Yep. Everyone was in agreement that it's bullshit to keep it away for that much of an extended period of time on a game that everyone's playing and paying the same amount. Yes, you can do the exclusive content, but at some point it has to either be one released to everyone, or it's going to be something that doesn't matter. And like Fortnite with that shit, Sony gets free skins. Those are cosmetics. It doesn't matter. Whereas in Destiny, these are maps and actual in-game content that was being held back. That's the significant difference. If you look at what they did with Call of Duty, yes, Xbox got the maps early, but they got it
off though. I got to cut you off, and I got to say the reason why they did that with Destiny is because they knew they'd pull in more player base that way. They knew they'd get more buyers coming to their console, and that's exactly what Xbox, in my opinion, even though I don't think it's necessarily right, it is kind of screwed over to the other, guys playing PlayStation. But at the same time, it's business. Like you have to do something drastic at times. And I think that was pretty drastic when they did that, when they held all that content, over Microsoft's head. Like, hey, look what we got over here on PlayStation. And it worked. It worked. And you need something like that. Just to have marketing rights and to say you have marketing rights and to put your, splash your logo there at the end of a commercial is not enough. They need to really go after it.
No, I get where you're coming from. And what I was going to say is that, yes, I do agree with that. But at the same time, because of the vagueness of everything and what they did, it really cost them their own trust within the community, because the Destiny community has been very, very rocky all over. And with the marketing rights on a lot of things and the vague wiggle room that they gave themselves, a lot of people, even the big content creators who are playing on others, were saying that it was bullshit. That they
want me to tell you something?
This is what I'm saying is that Microsoft needs to do the deals better. If they're going to do that exclusive content, give a time frame about it. If they're gonna do that, give a couple months of exclusive content to Xbox, make it the driving, especially for a big name game like Cyberpunk and Anthem, but still be better than the competition.
See, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm getting at is when Microsoft tried that with Rise of the Tomb Raider, look what happened. People waited to play it on the PlayStation. They didn't go out and buy an Xbox. But with Destiny, they went out.
But at the same time, they didn't play that game at all. That's the sad part about it. Is even when they said, "Oh, we're gonna get it on PlayStation," they didn't even buy more than what Xbox sold.
I mean, it's up to interpretation, but the bottom line is, if you look at past generations, when it came to 360 and PlayStation 3, marketing rights are big, man. I used to think that they don't matter, and you could look at the way Sony, you know, kind of treated the marketing rights for Battlefront 2 and other games, and they might have had a misstep there, but they still had the rights and their names out there. You know, you see commercials all the time. I saw a whole bunch of commercials. I saw the PlayStation logo. That's just the way it was. I wasn't seeing Xbox ads, and it's huge. I even think it's more important just for the fact that you get more commercials with your logo on it, more so than the content that is in there for gamers. Because let's be honest, here's the deal. Like, Destiny was my favorite game of the gen. You know, Destiny 1. I was kind of pissed off that I didn't have those guns and, you know, the armor sets and stuff like that, but it didn't persuade me as a consumer to go buy a PlayStation because all my friends were on Xbox. So I kind of sucked it up. But there are people out there that did, you know, they're more, you know, on the probably they probably did buy a PlayStation for those things, but it is important. I don't know if there's anybody out there that said, you know, would say it's not important. I think a lot of the struggles that, you know, on the Xbox side is from marketing and the lack of marketing. You know, for whatever reason, they decided to say, hey, we're not going to keep Call of Duty. We're not going to keep this. We're not going to keep that. They lost a whole bunch of them and they didn't get new ones, and it's hurt them, you know?
Exactly. So that's the same thing that I was saying. I was saying that the other night. I forgot who it was too. I was in a party with somebody and I was saying the one thing that separates Sony from Xbox right now, the one thing in my opinion, is the fact that Sony's doing such a tremendous job with marketing, whether it's securing these, you know, marketing rights for certain titles or just marketing the console itself. I mean, I turn on the TV and I see a PlayStation commercial every other, you know, commercial. You know, I see a lot of PS4 commercials still. I mean, they have that dude in the shop with all the weapons and stuff like that. The fact that I can think of a specific PlayStation commercial says a lot, because I can't tell you, I can't point out a specific Xbox commercial. I really can't. I can't think about one right now.
Nope.
Because I've been bombarded with PlayStation. So the fact that they're getting their marketing down, which is something that they missed last gen, and Xbox had picked up very well. Xbox with the 360, their marketing was through the roof. I mean, I seen that everywhere, dude. I seen it literally everywhere. And now you go into a Target or a Best Buy or a Walmart, and you see the PlayStation booth or this PlayStation area. That thing is just blasted. I mean, you see blue everywhere, even in a Target. I mean, you see that PlayStation blue popping right up front and center. And Xbox is on the side still, just with a couple controllers out. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll see an actual Xbox One X console. If not, it's the S. And it's like, where is the marketing? There is none. It's not a viable thing for Xbox right now. And that's what's killing them. And the fact that we have this rumor, I really do believe that this is what they need. This is by far the best thing that could ever happen to Microsoft, and I hope that it isn't just a rumor. Like you always say, Salty, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm hoping that this is a huge, raging fucking forest fire for Microsoft, because they need it.
You look at the two games. Just take Anthem and take Cyberpunk alone. Those two games, and you say, let's say they get exclusive content to each for Microsoft. And it's held out for, let's say, even 6 months or a year. Right? Yep. Let's say a year. That's and it's on the X, okay? And they're showing stuff. They're showing these games and it looks gorgeous on the X, with all this new content that they're not getting on the PlayStation side. That would cause some people to go out and buy an X. It would.
Hey, coming from E3, there's a lot of people that thought Anthem was an Xbox exclusive. I heard that from a lot of people who are like, whoa, Anthem's an Xbox exclusive. A lot of these people don't know, like they see the logo on there, the Xbox logo or the PlayStation logo. A lot of people thought Destiny was a PlayStation exclusive. So it matters, man. It's crazy. I think a lot of these titles are cool. I think this is just a step in the right direction. Like I said, even if half of these titles are correct, it's a step in the right direction. And then you got to look at acquisitions of, developers and studios, and then you got to get first party exclusives. You got to get that up. If they do all this, I mean, it's looking up and up, right? So does anybody else have anything to say before we move on?
I'm good.
All right, so Native, you want to take care of the Twitter poll, and then we'll get into the last topic of the night. Good talk.
All right.
No, that was my bad. I stepped away for a second.
Twitter poll.
Okay, so the Twitter poll. The question was asked, when will the PS5 drop? Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second, guys. I've got an emergency here at home.
I'll do it. I'll take over, please. I'll take over. When will the PS5 drop? Holiday 2018, 7%. Early 2019, that got about 8%. Late 2019, that got 38%. And 2020 seems to be the popular option, 47%. So this is the topic of the night. There's been some leaks out there when it comes to the PlayStation 5, and the rumor is interesting one. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to tell you right now that I think this is complete horseshit, but we will talk about it. So new rumors suggest that the PlayStation 5 is set for release this year. We're talking late 2018. According to the website Semi-Accurate, they claim that Sony has the necessary hardware and dev kits are already out to some of the developers out there. It says Sony, like I said, sent the dev kits out, and apparently they're going to be using AMD's Navi technology with Ryzen-based CPU, and PlayStation 4 uses VR tech, and that's going to be baked into the architecture when it comes to the PlayStation 5. Man, there's a lot to unpack here. One of which is the date that supposedly this is supposed to be coming out late 2018. Another thing that I want to focus on is the fact that they're going to be focusing on VR for the next gen. Let's talk about this, chat. What do you think about this topic and panel? Let's start with J-Fons. What do you think about this, man?
Let's get the bullshit out of the way first. Is it coming out in 2018? Hell no, it ain't coming out in 2018. That is not happening, people. There's just no way that they just got these dev kits out, apparently. And it's true, they have. I've spoke with several people that know people within the industry. I know that sounds like horseshit, but I trust these guys, and they said that they know for sure these dev kits are out there. But it takes time to make these games on these dev kits. So 2018 it's not happening. And this whole 20 teraflop bullshit, come on. No, that's not happening. At max, I think we might get a 8 or 10 teraflop console next gen. But when I think this console gen is going to start, this new one, I think it's going to be late 2019. At first I was thinking 2020, but here's the reason why. If you look at history with PlayStation, this would be the 25th anniversary year of PlayStation in late 2019 for the Japanese side anyway. But if you look at all their consoles, excluding the PS2, everything has been released in November. Okay. The PS2 was released, I think, in March, I believe. And that was, the last console that was released outside a holiday season. So I'm really thinking that because it's 25th year anniversary, because they usually release in November, it's going to happen in 2019. I really think that's going to happen. Mark it, put it down. Fawn says 2019.
So what about the idea that they're focusing on VR and that it's going to be baked into the tech, and that's their main focus? I don't think it's main focus there. If it's baked into the tech, I think that they're really pushing VR as well. That's something they're going to continue on with, which is great for people that are into that sort of thing. And maybe there is some growth that they're seeing trend that I'm not seeing or we don't know about here. I don't know.
I don't know what they're seeing there with that. That could be bullshit as well.
Exactly.
But I think November 2019 is the date. And here's another thing. Here's a thing that I think they're doing as well. And this is what I was going to talk to you about before the podcast. These games that are coming out next year. People are talking about The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, all these games. I think that they're going to be available for both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I think they're going to be able to run on both because it's going to be backwards compatible with the 4, and they're going to have those extra bells and whistles on the PlayStation 5. So they're not going to leave the PlayStation 4 crowd behind necessarily with these games that are on the horizon. That is what they're going to do, and it's brilliant if they do it this way. Brilliant.
Okay, so the main thing that I want to focus on here, because this is the rumor. The rumor is that it's going to be coming out at this date, and they're going to be focusing on VR. The point that I want to make is it sounds familiar, forcing a peripheral on people and stuff like that, and raising the price of the console, the technology. I've been hearing some weird things out there. I mean, if you put VR in the box, if it's baked into the technology, that's going to increase the price. I don't know. I don't even care if you get the price dropped down. It's going to be at least $100 more. The other thing that's weird to this is the fact that the CPU technology and the prices of all these parts are extremely high right now. I know they get a discount because they make these deals with these companies. But a jump, what is the jump for the next gen? The next gen to me would be 60 frames on most games, not all, because we've already got 4K gaming with the Xbox One X, and the PlayStation 4 Pro has semi 4K technology. But that would be next gen for me. Like, what would persuade me to upgrade to the next gen system? Would VR be that push for the main consumer? No, because even with the numbers right now, 2 million plus. About 2 million people have PlayStation VR, so why would that be a push for PlayStation?
You just nailed the bullshit with everything you said, though, because if they do implement VR and put it in the box, that's going to be at least an extra $150. I'm sorry. That thing is going to be $650, $700.
Exactly.
That's not happening. These next consoles got to be 500 or lower. They cannot be over 500. If it's a $600 price point, it's another PS3 all over again.
Exactly. I've been hearing some weird shit, guys. Okay, because this is like Magic Land when people like fanboys, speculate. They don't take into account the cost of making this shit. Nope. If the Xbox One X came out at $500 and they were almost taking a loss on it, what makes you think that the PlayStation 5 can come out at the end of 2018 with VR baked in the box and it's going to come out at $400? Are we smoking something? Like, what is this, guys? I mean, we got to take into account price and all this other stuff. And the thing is like, why is PlayStation in a rush to get this shit out, man? They're selling the base console like hotcakes.
There's no reason why they can't push out a system next gen to run all games at 1440p at 60 frames per second. There should be no reason, because the CPUs is what holds the frames down on these current gen consoles. We're getting rid of this dog shit CPU we have now on these consoles. Yep. We're getting something much better. They're going to be able to hit that target just by bringing that graphic fidelity down. And they're going to be able to do that with options such as what we have now with a lot of these games that are coming out, where they're like, well, you can uncap the frame rate, but you got to run it at 1440p. There's no reason why they can't do that next gen and hit that 60 frame target. So that's not even a question to me anymore. I think that's just going to be developer based. That's going to be based on what they feel their game should be run at. If they want it to run at 30, it's going to run at 30, no matter what, even if the tech is there. But for those developers out there who want their games at 60, I think next gen is going to be perfectly suited for that.
So the people on the panel that haven't spoken, let's hear your take, man. Let's start off with Bloody. What do you think of this rumor, man?
It's a rumor that it's strictly that. It's a rumor. Sure, we're looking at early stuff. There was early talks about the Project Scorpio, but that wasn't until close to when they are actually talking about it. But right now, there's no full base on any of this, and there's no way they're going to put out anything that strong for less than 500 in 2018 right now. There's no way. Like y'all were saying, we're looking at 700 at most, maybe a little bit more, but there's no way they're going to do half the things they want to do. With the PS4 Pro was already a half step up above what they had with the PS4, which was already a nice piece of hardware at the launch, right? But they didn't do anything significant. They didn't do a major turnaround or overhaul like you saw from the Scorpio from the base OG Xbox One. There's no way you're going to do that. And Microsoft was able to really rig their system together and knew they were going to go in and take a heavy loss. There's no way Sony is in a position to take that much of a loss on their hardware. And like you said, their console is still selling well. Why would they stop their money? If they jump the next generation too early, there's no way that it's going to do them any well. Yes, they could talk about getting early dev kits that are testing it to developers to start letting them look at next gen games, but there's no way it's going to come out in 2018. I've stated multiple times, I say 2020. They can jump the gun in 2019. Microsoft will just wait off and do their own thing. The thing is, people say that the whoever gets to start of the generation first is going to be the overall like leader. No, that's not true. If you look at what happened in the last generation with the PS3 and 360, Microsoft jumped on it like a couple years right after they launched the OG Xbox, and yeah, they had a strong market pool, but over time the sales caught up. It doesn't matter who starts the generation. It's if you can do the long-standing support throughout the generation. That's what makes the big deal about it.
Yep.
There's no way that anyone who's believing that this is going to come out 2018, it's the worst idea. In 5 years, you put out 4 consoles. Like, think about that. No.
So what about the VR idea? Do you think that
the VR is great? You know, they've done well with the VR, with their PSVR, with what they did with the Pro. The Pro is not a 4K machine. It's a VR machine. You know, Microsoft has talked about doing VR with Xbox One X originally, but they're not going to, we still don't know about it. We know that they're still messing around with the mixed reality and VR stuff from the PC side, but we don't know if we're going to see that on the Xbox console itself. But that's not what the machine was built for. It was built for 4K. The PS4 Pro was built for VR. If they continue doing that, that's great. They're doing something great with the PSVR, and I hope that it improves. That's where my point and stance on that is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Native and Punk, what do you guys think? Let's go with Native first.
I mean, I agree. I don't think late 2018 is viable. I don't think it's feasible, and I don't think that even Sony fans would want that, because it would mean rushed specs, rushed. I mean, it would be too rushed, way too rushed. I mean, Pro has been out for a while, but I don't think the tech is all there right now. I don't think it'll be there until late 2019 or even mid 2020 if that's the route they want to go. I would love to see both consoles drop in 2020 because I think that's enough time. But still, I don't think that the tech is there right now, and I don't think it will be there until another 2 years. I don't see it. But as far as the VR thing being baked in, we've seen that we've seen the Force peripheral thing play out before, and it didn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why don't these people get it? Yep. This shit just does not work. And someone had mentioned in the chat that Enrique, actually, shout out to Brap, but he had mentioned multiple SKUs. Well, someone else in the chat, I'm not sure who it was. Forgive me. I think it was Chris, but he said that the Steam Valve machines, those came out with multiple SKUs, different specs, different tiers. And that didn't work at all. So even if they did come out with multiple SKUs, I don't think it would work. I don't think if they said, oh, we'll ship this one with the VR or VR capable right out the gate, like, no, it just doesn't. It's not going to translate well for sales. It isn't, and it's going to hurt Sony fans because they're sitting at a high place right now. And to see it tumble down because they get too ambitious and do the same stupid shit that Xbox tried doing with the Force peripheral, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and that's a long way down, my friends. It's a long fucking way down.
I just want to comment on the first, and I'll let whoever that was talk. But being first doesn't mean that you're going to win the generation. Sorry. Like, here's the deal. Let's say that Sony rushes a console out in 2018, right? This console, it doesn't hit home with consumers. Let's say that the VR doesn't touch home. The CPU isn't powerful enough to hit 60 frames. It's not what the market wants. And then Microsoft waits and gets a cheaper console out that does better stuff. That affects the market. So it's not necessarily whoever's first to do it. Yep. It's whoever does it better and at a lower price, in my opinion. Yep. But who else? Who was going to chime in? I think someone was going to.
I was actually going to say something here. Is that they were talking about that Xbox needs to go before Sony and get out ahead of it. No, they don't need to jump the gun. Look at what happened with this generation. They launched well before the PS4 and they flubbed it. They had the issue with it. It doesn't matter who launches first, because the thing about it is when you launch, you have to have a strong lineup. You have to have that strong support. You have to have a solid plan. You have to have a solid delivery on what you're going to do when that launch takes off. That's where they failed this generation. Last generation, they were ahead. They had a solid launch with the 360. They had a clear-cut idea. It helped keep them ahead most of the generation. The sales caught up, but they still ended as the winners of last generation. Great. They jumped the gun too early with the Xbox One, had that failed delivery from Don Matrick, and because of that costed them. Even though they had good, solid plans at the beginning of the generation, the delivery fucked them over, and they didn't have the support. That's where people fail to realize that they need to wait and take their time, plan it out. If Sony wants to jump the gun, let them, but they have no reason to. Why is it such an arms race to put out everything first when it's not that big of an improvement?
But see, here it comes back down to, and you alluded to it, but you didn't exactly hit it. They had a plan. You have to have a plan, yes, but it's how you communicate that plan.
Yeah, the delivery. That's what I said.
Yeah, delivery. But that comes down to marketing. So their marketing has to be on point. Their message has to get across both sides of the console thing. You know, all sides of it. Every gamer has to know, okay, Xbox is doing this. This is what they plan to do. I know because I've seen this, because of this article, because of this commercial, I've seen this, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, their marketing has to be on point. And Sony, I don't think Sony has enough time to start pushing that yet. They have to build towards that. They have to start releasing things here and there. They have to start alluding to it now. They have to market it correctly. But if they just decide to jump the gun and, oh, surprise, at E3, by the way, we're releasing this late 2018 or we're releasing this late 2019, it's like, okay, but what am I getting? And then they have a full year to let us know, okay, this is what's coming in the box.
Yeah.
And if it's nothing but VR, guarantee you a lot of people are going to be turned off by that, especially with that price point.
If I'm to be correct on the late 2019, which I'm still sticking with, they will announce it at E3. Yeah. They will announce that because traditionally that's what they do. They announce their next console a year prior.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it goes. But if they don't announce it, then we know it's not 2019. But for sure, 2018 is way too soon. We all agree here that the tech is still in its infancy with some of this stuff. And I just don't see him being able to push this out this year. It's preposterous.
So, Punk, what do you think, man?
It's crazy that we're even talking about this stuff, I mean, it's always a fun topic. No, you said 2018, hell no. I mean, that's ridiculous. How are you going to put something out and if they just got dev kits, I'm assuming, can be maybe a couple months ago at best. There's no way it can come out this year. And then it takes time to make those games. I get what Fonz is saying with the whole anniversary, which would be the only logical sense to make it come out for next year. But remember when the PS3 came out? Like, they had no games for it. So you're going to tell me that they're just going to come out and rush games and then release a PS5 and have like nothing to play on it, or nothing that's going to be a top sell that's going to make you want to dive in? It makes no sense to me because, God, I bought some off-road game for the PS3. It was awful. And I never touched the PS3. That's what killed it for me, and that's why I was glad I had an Xbox then, because They just didn't really have any fun games to play. I'm still sticking with 2020. 2019 sounds fun. You know, they could have some great stuff, but I don't see it happening. As far as the VR, it's fun. I mean, I'm with you, Salty. I get motion sickness, so if they do or don't, you know, it's whatever for me. But for them to keep pushing VR, that's good for them. They're sticking with it. I mean, it could be on a whole new level by the time that thing comes out. I mean, the time that what am I trying to say? The time that they've put into what they've got now compared to the power that thing can have in 2019, 2020, it could be some pretty impressive stuff. Maybe some stuff you see at big expos and whatnot. But 2018 not happening.
Okay. I just want to respond to Brap real quick. See, the power narrative in the games situation, it's not an either or for me, but to say that power doesn't matter. So a lot of people bring out the Switch as an example of, you know, something that succeeds with low power. But I consider that a handheld, honestly. Like, you can dock it, but you can plug your tablet into your TV and play it, you know, play some shit on there and cast it to your TV. The thing is if power didn't matter, why don't they go back to 1080p? You know, why they use old technology, cut the cost of the next gen systems, and focus on games, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know me, power matters in my opinion. It really freaking matters.
It's
I
weird.
I buy consoles because I want to play the latest and greatest stuff, right? And it's one of the drawbacks to me not buying a Switch is the fact that thing is not that powerful. I'll be honest. That's one of the drawbacks to the Switch for me. I just think it's a glorified handheld. I'm not into handhelds. It's awesome if you like handhelds, but for me, if they would have came out with a Nintendo, actually like a traditional console that was powerful and capable of these awesome graphics that we get, say on the X or Pro or whatever, then it would be fine. It might tempt me more to buy the thing. And it's just me. I'm into power.
Because I've made my statement clear. I think that the way the generation panned out the way it did, because a lot of missteps by Xbox, but to be honest, you can the argument goes back and forth. But early in the generation, PlayStation didn't have many exclusive games, and that's just facts. They had the power, and the power narrative was there for the longest time. But then now they have games, so then games are the narrative. I think both matter. It's not an all or nothing proposition for me, because a console that can achieve both is going to sell lots of consoles, because in the beginning of the generation, 1080p was the narrative. PlayStation had that, Xbox didn't. Now games are there. They've always been important. It wouldn't make any sense if your console didn't have any exclusive games, but both is important. But the fact, like I said before, why wouldn't you put out a system that was a 1080p console? I mean, you'd save a hell of a lot of money on the cost of the system. You could sell it for how much? But how many people will go out there and buy a 1080p PlayStation 5 if they had 1,000 exclusives on the console? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course. I mean, especially if it came out at a price point like 250 or 300. Yeah, that thing would sell so fast.
But what I'm trying to say is, people look for in the next gen console is new features, new technology, better looking games. I think that is important, but that's my opinion, you know, and that's the cool thing about this. We all have our opinions.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. You come out with a next generation console. Okay. You say the Xbox comes out and I mean, let's say it's got photorealistic graphics. It looks amazing running at 60 frames. Then you have the PlayStation 5 that comes out and it looks just exactly like the PlayStation Pro. Do you think that would fly? I don't.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
But you know, games are important. Don't let that fool anybody. Exclusive games are important, you know, but power does matter. And the people that say that power doesn't matter, I think you're fooling yourself, because the market is, you know, people want new tech. They want the newest thing. They want, you know, they want increases in technology. So
we're living in a generation where everybody's going out and buying the latest and greatest new thing, new gadget, new phone, new whatever. I mean, it's crazy. Everything that comes out, it's like people got to have it, and they're buying it, and they're able to get
upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I can't see myself going back to the Xbox One S or the original Xbox One after being on the X because everything looks so much better and it runs better and it feels better. I don't see myself going backwards. So I understand where you guys are coming from. And as far as the whole 250, PlayStation 5, 1080p, I still think that would sell a hell of a lot because, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of cheap people out there that still want the PS5, even if it's going to run at a lower resolution, lower, they still, as long as they can play the games, they're fine. But the problem is right now is that you can't play PS3 games on a PS4 or a PS2 or PS1 games on that PS4. It's not fully backwards compatible. So I think that's one thing setting it back.
Here's the deal. Endless Echo, you're talking about the Switch. We've gone over this.
Oh no.
Nintendo walks its own line, okay? Just because the Switch is, running at 1080p, Nintendo walks its own line. It has its exclusives that sell very well, more than any other console, and that sells the system. They don't have AAA multiplat support like the current consoles. They're different. It's different. You know what I'm saying? They're getting better. But just to go back to that narrative and say, oh, look at the Switch, it's 1080p. Okay, if that's the case, come out with PlayStation 5 at 1080p and let's see how much it sells. It won't sell. The PlayStation and the Xbox, they run against each other all the time. And it's a matter of fact that they run third-party support with all these multi-plat, big hitters, and it wouldn't fly. If you don't have enough power to run the system, you can't sell these third-party stuff, and that's what sells. That sells more. Look at the figures.
Let me ask you a question. If they came out with the PS Mini, just like the Nintendo Mini, would you buy one?
I don't know, man. Honestly, it just... I don't know what mini are you talking about. Are you talking about a lower powered PlayStation?
No, I'm talking about the little, like a PlayStation, like the original PlayStation Mini. Like they came out with the Nintendo Mini thing that they had, that little baby console.
The NES.
There you go, that one. Yeah. If they came out with the PlayStation one, or it was just a mini, it had built-in games into it. Let's say 100 games. Are you going to pick it up? But it's going to look like the PlayStation. It's not going to be upgraded. It's not going to be up-res because a lot of people bought those things. They bought the little mini Atari thing, the little NES thing, whatever else came out. They bought those, and they sold like crazy. So if PlayStation did something like that with the PS5 and they said it's going to have lower resolution and all this stuff, you don't think that would sell? This is just to provoke some thought.
Nah, I mean, those mini consoles you're coming out with stuff that's been sold a long time ago, like you're playing the Nintendo original. That's just kind of a niche thing that people want to have in their homes. But I don't know, man. I think that we could talk about that on a different date. But this conversation is an interesting thing to think about. It's thought-provoking. And I know that there's different sides of the argument when it comes to power and games. I say have both, but that's just me. In the end,
I just want to say one thing though, real quick, man, if I can. But Enrique is talking about how back traditionally, historically, the most powerful consoles weren't the market leaders, and he's correct. But you're going back to a time. I mean, when you go back and you think about all the consoles that have come out, it wasn't really until like the PlayStation 2 where we started to get graphics that were really on another level, and people really start to discern, start to think about like, wow, it's getting sort of to the point where we're getting almost photorealistic, and now as graphics are getting just even better and better, you see that power more now. More so than we did in the past anyway. That's the way I've viewed it. Because when I was younger, like, think about it, with the NES going to like the Genesis, was there a difference there? Yeah, but was it as huge as the differences we see now with graphics? No. I mean, I think now it's way more impactful with these graphics. I just think it's a much different level now.
So yeah, do you guys have anything else to say before we conclude the show? I think it's a hot topic, honestly. Like I said before, I don't see the console coming out the end of 2018, but that's just my opinion. You guys can figure out what you guys think. Any other thoughts before we get going?
No, I think we'll kind of beat that one.
It's dead.
All right, cool. Well, we want to thank everybody for being here for sure. Too many to shout out. Make sure you hit that like button. before we leave. Let's get some 60 likes and share it out to the Twitterverse. Let's start off with Jay Fonzarelli. Where can people find you, man?
You can find me at Jay Fonzarelli on Twitter and here on YouTube and on RDX every Tuesday on Dealer Gaming's channel and right here on TSP.
Awesome. Punk, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Punkadish Gaming and on Xbox Punk Edition. Since I just renewed my PlayStation, is also Punk Edition. Try to keep it all well-rounded, easy to find, man. And also TSP, man. Thursday's best time of the week, man. I love talking with you guys. Great show.
Awesome. Bloody Knuckles, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Bloody Knuckles. They can also find me on Saturdays on my show, The Smash Podcast, your little corner for nerdy news and geeky goodness. Of course, they can find me here every Thursday with the rest of the Salty crew and Fridays on GRG.
Awesome. Irrelevant Native, where can people find you?
Yo, thank you to everybody in the chat, and thank you, panel, for another great freaking show. I love Thursdays. I absolutely love Thursdays. I hate Wednesdays, but Thursdays are amazing. Thursdays are amazing. So I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And you guys can always find me on Twitter at Irrelevant Native. And you can also find me on Xbox at Irrelevant Native. So let's get to gaming, man. Good stuff.
Awesome. As for me, you're on the channel Saltiest Gaming. I just came out with a video. It's about Spyro. Check that out. It's very thought-provoking in the comment section. Just kidding. There's lots of trolls in there. But hey, maybe you can put your thoughts in there if you haven't seen the video. I appreciate all you guys. For real. I'm always excited for Thursdays. Salty Thursdays, as we call them. We're trying to build a positive community here, a gaming community. As you saw with the topics, we had a lot of PlayStation topics this week, but next week it might be all Xbox. It might be, some Nintendo there. As I said before, I just got a Switch, so I'm a multi-console owner, not so much an Xbox anymore. This is, an Xbox oriented channel, but we talk gaming and we keep it real. So we appreciate all you guys, and for sure, hit that like button. And as always, this is it for episode 30 of the Saltiest Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, stay salty, my friends.